Curtis Blaydes versus Chris Daukaus just took place in the main event of UFC Fight Night Columbus, Blaydes versus Daukaus, and I can't wait to break down this fight because what an amazing second round TKO finish for Curtis Blaydes. It was basically a KO anyway, but there were some follow-up shots on Chris Daukaus, who was still somewhat breathing on the ground, so I guess it was a TKO win for Curtis Blaydes, but it was a picture-perfect right hand straight down the pipe. It was almost like, have you ever seen Dan Hooker versus Gilbert Burns? When Dan Hooker landed that right hand on Burns and dropped him in the first round. Not the shot that finished Gilbert Burns with the body shot and then the head shot afterwards with the left hook. The straight right hand, right down the pipe, right off the shoulder. No wind up whatsoever. Landed it perfectly on Daukaus' chin, put him down badly, and then finished him off afterwards. And this was a good performance by Curtis Blaydes, man. He didn't shoot a single takedown. I thought he was going to try and get this one to the ground and try and submit or ground and pound Chris Daukaus. And I thought even if he did try and ground and pound this Chris Daukaus, that maybe Chris Daukaus would open up a little opportunity for a rear naked choke or something like that. But Curtis Blaydes gets it done with the hands. No need for a takedown, lays Chris Daukaus out. In the first round, it was somewhat competitive early on. Chris Daukaus was landing a couple of good shots in the opening half of the first round. Good combinations on Curtis Blaydes. Blaydes landed some decent shots back on Chris Daukaus, though. But again, Chris Daukaus, I said this, is a little bit overrated. Like a lot of people a long time ago were talking about the next wave of heavyweights like Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall, and Chris Daukaus. Let's leave his name out of that, I was saying. People were talking about, this next new breed of heavyweights, like Daukaus, Aspinall, and Gane. I'm like, steady up. Like, let's chill out a little bit here. Aspinall, Gane, Daukaus is, like, not quite there with the other two. And it got shown tonight against Curtis Blaydes. Even in a stand-up fight, he just keeps getting hit on the chin, and it happened in the Shamil Abdurakhimov fight as well. Early on, I know all anyone remembers is the fact that he knocked down Shamil Abdurakhimov twice in that fight. The guy's got really bad distance management. Straight up, really bad distance management, and he doesn't know when he can be hit sometimes, and he ends up more often than not walking into a lot of punches. It's one of the reasons I picked him to lose to Derek Lewis by KO in the first round, and Derek Lewis KO'd him in the first round. What do you know? Daukaus, yeah. I think he just jumped into the top 5 way too early. And not only that, in hindsight, fair play, like hindsight's 20/20, but you just lost to Derek Lewis. You beat Shamil Abdurakhimov before that to get you like barely into the top 10. Then you lose to Derek Lewis, and then main event 3 months later against another top 5 heavyweight. How does that make any sense as a matchup anyway? Blaydes KOs him in the second round. I actually am so confused as to why this matchup was even made. I was confused in the first place, but now that we've seen, like, genuinely, what were they thinking? 3 months ago, you got laid out cold by Derek Lewis, and you're already back in there against a top 5 guy. Curtis Blaydes. You're number 9 or something. Like, I never understood that whatsoever, but Curtis Blaydes got the job done. Chris Daukaus had some success early on, landed some combination punches over the top of the shots of Curtis Blaydes, was following up with combinations here and there, landing some good shots. But Curtis Blaydes was chewing up his leg in this fight really well, keeping his range very well, being very defensively aware, more defensively aware than Chris Daukaus was. And towards the second half of the first round, you could really see Curtis Blaydes start to land a lot more frequently, a lot more effectively on the chin of Chris Daukaus. And Daukaus took a couple of shots very well. Like, he's got a decent chin, enough, but like, it's just you can't keep taking those big shots at heavyweight. You can't take more than a couple shots around at heavyweight, and Daukaus keeps taking a lot of shots per round, and down he goes by KO, and that's 2 KOs in a 3-month period, and it's only fighting ranked opponents from now on. He's probably going to get like a Sergey Spivak next, or something like a, maybe if he's nice to the UFC brass, he'll get like an Augusto Sakai to bounce back against, maybe. No pun intended on the bounce. They both look like deflated balloons. But either way, Chris Daukaus loses by KO. Curtis Blaydes looked amazing. His stand-up looks way better. I thought he was going to at least shoot a takedown to make Daukaus even think about the takedown and then try and land some big shots, but no, straight right hand. He was just better at striking than Daukaus, which is weird to say because of the hype that Daukaus had, but it's how it is. He was a better striker than Chris Daukaus by far. Daukaus had slow hand speed. Not great footwork, and Blaydes looked amazing in every way. I picked Blaydes to win inside the distance by submission. He ended up getting it done by KO, but great win from him. There was an eye poke moment. It was a thumb in the eye at the end of round 1. That probably did play a factor as to why Daukaus got caught so early on into the start of the second round. He had a thumb deep in his eye at the end of the first round, like a real bad thumb in the eye from Curtis Blaydes. But what can you do? You know what I mean? It's one of them things. They stopped the fight. They can't like take a point away immediately from Blaydes. It was completely accidental. But there you go. He gets KO'd in the second round after a thumb in the eye. And then Curtis Blaydes gets on the microphone. And I'll tell you this. Thank God for Daniel Cormier, because Curtis Blaydes had 2 call-outs. One of them made sense, thanks to Daniel Cormier. And the other one made 0 fucking sense. Okay? And I know he only called out this person because they showed a grappling weakness in their last fight. Originally on the microphone, Curtis Blaydes, who I'm very happy for because he silenced the haters that say he's a boring fighter and all this and all that, and that's what people are saying. So he had a really good performance, and he showed everyone that he's still an exciting heavyweight fighter with a great win here against Daukaus. But his original call-out was Cyril Gane for the interim belt, which just isn't a good call-out. The one guy you do not call out at heavyweight right now for an interim belt is Cyril Gane. You got Jones coming in. He'll be fighting for an interim belt, if anyone. If they're ever going to do one. Stipe will be fighting for an interim belt as well, if they're ever going to do one. Tuivasa, Aspinall are options, but not likely to be able to fight for an interim belt. Maybe Tuivasa, more than Aspinall, because Tuivasa beat a better opponent. Not officially, but rankings-wise, than Tom Aspinall. He called out Cyril Gane, the guy who's coming off a loss, for an interim belt fight. That makes no sense. I don't think you can put Cyril Gane back into a championship bout. I don't want to see Cyril Gane fighting Ngannou after one fight being removed. I don't want Ngannou to come back against the same opponent that he beat when he left. I think Cyril Gane needs 2 wins in a row. Terrible call out from wow, I'm stuttering just like him. Curtis Blaydes. Terrible call out, but the next call out was, hey, Daniel Cormier takes control. Here's what you're supposed to do in OHIO. The guy's in the fucking arena, you idiot. Like, I felt the same way about Tom Aspinall calling that Tai Tuivasa. Cyril Gane's right there. That's the perfect matchup to make between them two. Gane versus Aspinall, but you didn't call him out. Curtis Blaydes, Stipe in the crowd, taking pictures with fans as Blaydes calls him out. Very respectfully, by the way, because he wanted to maintain the cheers of the crowd because, of course, he just won them all over with a big KO. If he started talking shit to Stipe, then, you know, he probably would lose them all again as fans. But Curtis Blaydes, very good win. DC controlled the call out towards Stipe afterwards, which is very good. DC does this quite well on the microphone. Another time I remember him doing this was when Jan Blachowicz called out John Jones. DC loves pitting people against people that have beaten before in his career. Hey, call out the guy that beat me. Let's fuck him up, guys. Hey, Curtis Blaydes, call that guy out. But either way, he organised a call out very well. And Curtis Blaydes respectfully called out Stipe, but we had a couple of good promo lines we can find there. A good soundbite of, what was it? I really want to be like you, but that just might mean I have to beat you. Or I have to beat you first. I really want to be like you, but that just might mean I have to beat you first. So that's a decent promo that can... a decent soundbite sentence that can be put into a promo throughout that call-out that he had. And I don't know if Stipe's going to take that fight. I reckon Stipe's going to fight Jones. I reckon Cyril Gane's going to fight Tom Aspinall in the UK, in London, maybe later this year. Gane's from Paris. It makes sense. It's about a 2-hour train or 3-hour train away. 4-hour train away, I believe. I don't know how far a train away is, but it's a train away because there's underwater trains on the English Channel, if you don't know. But either way, I reckon they're going to do Tuivasa versus Blaydes. Most likely. Sadly enough for Blaydes, even if he beats Tuivasa, no one wants to see you fighting Ngannou again. Sadly. That's not an anticipated matchup. You're 0-2 against him. You know? Like, fair play, the first one was a doctor stoppage, but you got your eye completely rearranged, so it was a fair play doctor stoppage, even though you were doing quite well in that fight. The second time you got KO'd in the first round. It's going to be real hard for Curtis Blaydes to get ahead of himself here. So if I was Curtis Blaydes, what I would do is this. Play ball with the UFC and get some money while you can. While you're an undeniable title elimination bout option for many of these contenders, you need to call out some people and start really trying to renegotiate your contract. I don't know how much Curtis Blaydes made in that fight. If we follow the pattern of his last contract, he would have made... I'll just check for you guys right now on his contracts. 1 second, please. Curtis Blaydes' career earnings. Here we go. His last fight, he made 100 for 100. And he ups by 10 each time on his new contract since the Volkov fight. He re-signed after Dos Santos to improve by 10 each fight. So that means he will have made 110 for 110 plus 11,000. Probably no, it was a main event, so 20,000 on fight week incentive pay. So he would have made 110 for 110, 220 plus 21,000 fight week incentive, or just 20,000 to make it easier, which is 240, and then 50k bonus. So Curtis Blaydes made 290,000. Good for him. Really good for him. Really, really good for him. And for Chris Daukaus, what's next for him? Shit, I don't know. I don't know anymore about Chris Daukaus. Really jumped to the top 5 far too soon. And I think that's the main problem that he's had. He just was not ready for him at all. I guess they could do him versus Augusto Sakai. In a way. Like, they're both coming off losses. Many losses in a row as well. So they both need a win to get back into the win column so they can progress back up the heavyweight division and try and rebound their careers. So I would assume they're going to do Augusto Sakai versus Chris Daukaus. But for the love of God, maybe they don't do that, because Chris Daukaus, take some fucking time off, you idiot. If I see this man sign a fight within 3 months again, there's something wrong with you and your family and your team. They don't love you. They want you dead. Simple as. They want you dead. Really. That's the situation. You should not be signing fights in a heavyweight division 3 months after a KO loss. You should not be returning to fight camp, an 8-week fight camp, like 3 weeks after a KO loss. What were you thinking? Genuinely, what the fuck were you thinking? This is what happens. So I'd like to see him return August earliest, I would say. August, not a main event in any way anymore. He's out of that conversation. I don't mind a Chris Daukaus, Augusto Sakai, prelims of a pay-per-view headliner, co-main event of a fight night card, feature fight of a fight night card probably, actually, because although they are ranked, they aren't the biggest names. That's what I want to see next. Good performance by Curtis Blaydes, though. Great stiff right hand right down the pipe. Nothing on it whatsoever. Just a purely perfectly technical punch. And he looked amazing. Good for Curtis Blaydes. Really good. Although the thumb in the eye might have had something to do with it. But, you know, these fucking things happen. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip.